Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Chris, and on today's video we have another fragrance from the house of Chanel. So I recently went on vacation, and my connecting airport, which was Dallas Fort Worth, had a Chanel boutique inside of it. I did pop in there. I did get to smell a lot of the fragrances that I have not smelled in pretty much years. For example, 1932, marvelous. It's my next wish list fragrance. And I got to smell the entire Eaux range, which I had not gotten to smell all of them. The stores near me do not carry the entire range, and I really wanted to smell all of them to really get a feel for which one was my next purchase, and I decided to go for this fragrance right here. So I got Peri Peri, which is the Paris fragrance out of the Eaux range, and this is what the box looks like. So it is just a simple unicardboard. These are not meant to be kept. I think they're made out of sustainable material, but Chanel doesn't really tell you. You get your barcodes at the bottom as well as a batch code. You get your ingredients list at the back, and on the front you get the size, which is going to be 125 mils or 4.2 fluid ounces, which is a little bit generous. Now, Chanel is very expensive. I think we all know that. They have marked up everything that you can possibly think of. They have marked it up. This range is still affordable. This bottle of fragrance is 150 US dollars, and it is an eau de toilette, so there's that trade-off, but other eau de toilettes from the brand are more expensive. So I'm not sure how they decide what gets increased or what doesn't. Maybe it's because the Eaux range is not that popular. Couldn't tell you because I don't know. So this range, like I said, is still affordable. They do offer a smaller size of this fragrance as well. They also do offer, I believe, shower gels. They offer body lotions and oils and things like that. So it is growing. I don't think it's super popular like the rest of the range, but this is what the bottle looks like. And I have to show you because I love the bottle itself. I know I've gotten comments from people saying that I don't like the bottles, that I don't like the simplicity of them, all that jazz, but I have to say, the bottle itself is not the problem. I love the simplisticness of it. I love that it's modern, yet timeless, yet classic at the same time. What I don't like is, for example, the lid is straight plastic. You can get this type of lid from a Victoria's Secret body spray or a Bath and Body Works body spray. That's the issue. We're buying Chanel, we're paying, Chanel pricing to get plastic. That's my issue with this entire, brand for the most part. So I got to smell all of them. Like I said, I do already own two. I own Biarritz and I own Venice. And my next one that I was going to purchase in my mind was Riviera. And I was very excited for it. I was really into it and I smelt it in store. Good fragrance, but I'm glad I didn't go and get that one before I got Paris Paris, because Paris is just marvelous. I actually really fell in love with Deauville and Paris Paris. They're both some of the ones that I really do like. I have to be honest, when it comes to Edinburgh, it's the most masculine one, which is nice, but it's kind of generic, if that makes any sense. But this one I was head over heels for. It really spoke to me. It smells divine. It is a rose fragrance, so if you don't like rose fragrances, this may be an issue. But this one is going to be patchouli and rose. And there's another fragrance that I really do love that already has these two notes, which is going to be Rouge Velours by Yves Saint Laurent. And that's part of their Le Vestiaire collection, which is their private range. So you're kind of getting a lighter version of that, but at a cheaper price, because I believe those are 300 US dollars for the same size that you're getting here. And this is a more wearable version of that. So this one was launched in 2022, and the perfumer for this is Olivier Polge, which is Jacques Polge's son. He's done a few fragrances now from Chanel, and some of them are better than others. This one I do think is a nice one. Notes for this fragrance are going to be damask rose, lemon, patchouli. We also get pink pepper and mandarin. So you get that beautiful damask rose in here, which is it's a very unique rose because it has a wet, jammy feel to it, but at the same time, you get darkness, you get richness out of it. It's kind of like smelling a wet rose in the middle of the night, and the water droplets on the rose are reflecting on the moonlight. That's the best way I can describe it. But the rose is beautiful in this fragrance. It is very nice. It is very likable. It's rich. It's luxurious as well. So this is what really drew me into the fragrance itself. We get a very nice patchouli in here as well. Like I said, that's going to really contrast with that beautiful rose. And then we get dashes of pepper. It's not going to be overwhelming pepper like in other rose fragrances. It's just to add an element of dimension to the fragrance itself. So it is marvelous. I really do have to say that. Out of all of them, I probably would go for this one first, and then for Duville. Beautiful as well. I think it's very sexy. It's also very light and fresh, and it's one of those that you spray on yourself just like Paris Paris, and you tend to walk throughout the day and say, is that me that I'm smelling? That's kind of the feeling I got. So I sprayed it on. I had to go, board my flight, and I got to sit there and I was like, is that me or is that someone else? And I kept thinking until the end of the day, I smelled my shirt and I was like, oh, it's me. I thought it was someone else on the flight that smelled good. And it was me the entire time. And it was this fragrance right here, Paris Paris. It is a very unisex fragrance as well, but it will lean more feminine because it does have that rose essence in there. And a lot of men tend to steer clear of rose fragrances. But this one, to me, can go both feminine and masculine. You can also use this as a layering fragrance. Divine for that. This fragrance reminds me a lot of, like I said, Rouge Velours by Yves Saint Laurent, but it also reminds me a lot of Gris Dior because it has that same vibe, that same feeling. The same rose, essentially, that's in Gris Dior is the same rose that you get in Paris Paris, but this one is just very magical, very beautiful. And out of all of those, I never thought I would say this, but Chanel was cheaper than Yves Saint Laurent and Christian Dior. So it's a rarity to say that. I don't think I've ever said that before, but yes, it is cheaper because it is part of the Les Eaux range and it is an eau de toilette and it's a beautiful fragrance. So what do you think of this fragrance? Which of the Les Eaux fragrances is your favorite? Comment down below. Like I said, I fell in love with Paris Paris. I also fell in love with Duville. There's a couple of other ones. I would get Edinburgh just to add it to my collection. I would probably, I mean, I won't, but if I could, I would probably skip out on Riviera because it's a little underwhelming, if you will. And just so you do know, all of this range really is focused on cities that had significance in Coco Chanel's life or the brand of Chanel. And obviously Paris being, the center of fashion and the center of haute couture, this is what this fragrance is inspired by. And the color pink in this one really reflects the pink hues that Chanel uses so much in their haute couture and their prêt-à-porter. So the fragrance really much fits into the Chanel house. I will say that if you're looking for a fragrance that is going to be that Chanel stamp, for example, that number 5 or the Les Exclusives range that kind of have that powdery element in the background, you get it very faintly in here. It's not going to be super big and it's not going to be a standout ingredient or a standout smell. This one kind of takes its own turn and it's a more modern approach to Chanel. So it's a new wave of perfumery for the house of Chanel, which some people, they might not like it because it doesn't fit with the other fragrance lines. But I love it. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. I can't speak higher for it because I already have. So don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more fragrance related content. Until next time, take care.